Hey, so something really weird. I bought this really cute fan. Anyway, suddenly I come home and try and turn it on, and it looks like it's seized. That's max power, and this is not a trick of frame rate. It's actually running that slow. So I'm gonna turn it off. A lot of the time you'll get cooling devices like this fan, and they won't have any form of grease or lubrication on the axle or other moving parts, which is a little odd, but I think that's just cheap manufacturing, really. And lithium grease costs money, so I think what they intend to put on there is probably lithium grease or something that's non-conductive. I think a lot of lubricants might be a little conductive, but it's not a big deal. The conductive parts are not typically around the axle or any of the parts that touch the outer part of the motor. So yeah, it's weird that motors in fans never come with grease, but that's like the easiest fix you can do to fix one of these devices. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. There we go, unplugged. Yeah, so I'm just going to remove the back casing here and see if I can loosen things up. I mean, WD-40 would do it, but I want to properly grease this so it just like lasts for a while. Wow, that just detached the fan from the inside of the case. So I guess I do need to take the front off. I have so much junk going on in this office. I really have to sort it, including that project there, which is a table that we wanted to put together. There's a ton of cat hair in this thing that might not be helping matters. I mean, it's not even enough cat hair to be visible on camera, but there's still enough to be gross. Come on, cats. I'll just put that on the floor. I added 2 little magnets to my jeweler screwdriver kit, so I can just kind of like store my screws there. Makes things easy. And now that I've undone the back screws and the front screws, it's sort of loose, so it's zip tied down though. Let me see here. I can just snip those zip ties and redo them. So you can see there that the cord is zip tied down, and that's what's holding it in place. So I'm just gonna cut those for now. I have more zip ties. I bought more, so I can just replace them. Professional quality things holding it down. It's free. This webcam is really weird. I'm just using Windows 10 webcam, and the video is really separated from the audio. I see myself a second or two later. So now I've got the motor loose. I just got to kind of get it more apart. I think I might actually have to take the blades off. There's a little tiny screw on the edge of the blades. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's this guy in here that attaches the blades to the axle, or the drive shaft. I don't know what you would even call it on this. But the blades should come right off. Yeah, they do. Blades. Cat hair. Now there's 2 screws on the front of this motor I have to undo to get it off. So the front came right off with those 2 screws. And the bare motor is exposed. So I can put a little bit of, I'm going to use automotive grease. If somebody freaks out over that, enjoy freaking out. I don't care. It's pretty safe, even if it is slightly conductive. It looks like everything's held down by more zip ties. This plastic piece is kind of a neat part. They designed it just so that the motor slips in. It's not really held in by anything that I can tell. Yeah, nothing there that's actually holding it in but friction. Oh, and 2 screws. There they are, right in the back there. There's 2 screws. You can tell I'm not really careful about this. All of these screws are kind of different types, so after years of pulling things apart, I just have a bit of a sense for where they go. If you're doing something like this, maybe putting them in different cups with different colors might help. Hey, what do you know? It's just not even friction. It comes right out. So if I turn the motor shaft with my hand, there's a lot of takes some effort, and that's probably why it's not working. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in and just see how it works freely again. So the motor is in the middle of the plastic here, and there's the switch. I'm just going to switch it on and see if it actually spins. Oh yeah, it spins, but really slowly. Oh, now it's sped up. So it really needs some lubrication. Now I'm going to start with some WD-40 just to like maybe stop it from seizing. So one quick squirt in either end of the drive shaft, axle, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to spin. I'm just manually spinning the drive shaft, and I can already feel it's like a lot better. WD-40 does not count as lubricant. I mean, it's oil-based, but it breaks down oils, and you probably shouldn't use it as the only lubricant. You can. It functions okay, but I don't know. Not the best idea, so I use just regular synthetic grease. And yeah, the actual conductive part of this motor, like what I'm doing is I'm just using my finger to push it towards the shaft there, and then I'll spin the shaft, which is kind of hard to do. I spin it a little bit to push a little bit of the grease in there, and the grease should also, as the fan runs, wick its way into the shaft and cause the lubrication of the internals, basically. Meaning you don't need to pull the whole motor apart to get it to actually be lubricated. I'm just doing the same thing for the bottom, a little bit of synthetic grease there. And it actually, this part is a bit of a canister, so this is probably made to be where you put the grease. You probably cover it with something so the grease doesn't get out, but usually it just sticks. And when it spins, it will wick again the grease upwards into the internals of the axle and make it run better. So I'm just going to set the motor back into the plastic piece here and try turning it on and leaving it for a little while so that it wicks the grease. This is all stuff that my dad taught me a long time ago, and I guess, I don't know, not everyone gets the same weird education about electronics and things. So yeah, that's just the bare motor running for a while. It's humming along nicely, and it seems to be pretty happy. Happy little motors. Okay, so now that it's run for like, 30 seconds or whatever, it seems to be running fine on its own. I'm gonna assemble this all again, and it should work. But I doubt anybody's learning anything from this more than just watching a silly person do things in a silly way. One of my friends asked, hey, whenever you're doing cool stuff, maybe try and include me, because I'm interested in this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But in Toronto, sometimes it can be hard to see all of your friends because you live far apart, i.e. North York, I guess. I have quite a few friends out there. And yeah, video seems to be a good way to at least keep in touch. And our little fan, hey, that's a lot better. So cool. Too bad I'm not.